The Bible, in its original form, was written in Hebrew and Aramaic, languages primarily spoken by the Jewish people. These ancient texts, inscribed on scrolls and parchments, have been meticulously preserved over centuries, offering a glimpse into the spiritual and cultural life of early Jewish communities. As Judaism spread beyond its geographical origins, the need for translations became increasingly apparent. Jewish communities established themselves along ancient trade routes and in distant lands, leading to a rich tapestry of cultural exchange and interaction. One of the most significant early translations was the Septuagint, created around the 3rd century BCE. This monumental work was a response to the growing Jewish diaspora in the Hellenistic world, where Greek had become the dominant language. The Septuagint got its name from the Greek word for 70, reflecting the tradition that 72 Jewish scholars worked on the translation. These scholars, reputed for their wisdom and knowledge, undertook the task of rendering the sacred Hebrew texts into Greek. This translation rendered the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament into Greek, which was the lingua franca of the Hellenistic world. Greek was widely spoken and understood, making the scriptures accessible to a broader audience. This development was crucial for several reasons. It not only preserved the sacred texts, but also facilitated their study and interpretation by scholars across different cultures. First, it allowed Jews living outside Judea, who often no longer spoke Hebrew, to access their scriptures. These communities, spread across various Hellenistic cities, could now engage with their religious heritage in a language they understood. Secondly, and perhaps more significantly, it opened up the Bible to a much wider audience of non-Jews. The translation made the rich spiritual and ethical teachings of Judaism available to the diverse populations of the Hellenistic world. The Septuagint played a crucial role in the spread of early Christianity. As the new faith emerged, it found in the Septuagint a valuable resource for conveying its message. Early Christians, many of whom were Gentiles, used the Septuagint as their primary source for understanding the Hebrew scriptures. This Greek translation became the foundation upon which they built their theological and doctrinal teachings. The apostles and early church fathers quoted extensively from the Septuagint in their writings and teachings, solidifying its place in the Christian tradition. Their use of the Septuagint helped to bridge the gap between Jewish and Christian thought. The Septuagint's impact extended beyond simply making the Bible accessible. Its translation choices and interpretations influenced how early Christians understood key theological concepts, shaping the development of Christian doctrine. Its translation choices and interpretations influenced how early Christians understood key theological concepts. The nuances and subtleties of the Greek language provided new dimensions to the interpretation of the scriptures. It became a bridge between the Jewish and Christian faiths, shaping the development of both religions in profound ways. The Septuagint fostered a shared religious heritage, promoting dialogue and understanding between the two communities. As Christianity spread throughout the vast expanse of the Roman Empire, the need for a Latin translation of the Bible became increasingly important. The early Christian communities, scattered across different regions, spoke various languages and dialects, but Latin was emerging as the lingua franca of the empire. Latin was the language of the people, the language of administration, commerce, and daily life. A Latin Bible would make the sacred scriptures accessible to a much wider audience, allowing the teachings of Christianity to reach the hearts and minds of ordinary citizens. This monumental task fell to St. Jerome, a scholar renowned for his linguistic prowess and unwavering dedication to biblical scholarship. Jerome was not only fluent in Latin, but also had a deep understanding of Greek and Hebrew, the original languages of the Bible. In the late 4th century CE, Pope Damasus I recognized the need for a standardized Latin translation and commissioned St. Jerome to undertake this significant project. Jerome's mission was to create a version of the Bible that would be both accurate and accessible to the Latin-speaking world. Jerome's work, known as the Vulgate, became the official Bible of the Western Church for centuries. The Vulgate was not just a translation, it was a unifying force, that brought consistency to the Christian teachings and liturgy across the Western world. Jerome didn't simply translate existing Greek and Latin texts. He approached the task with scholarly rigor, seeking to produce a translation that was as close to the original scriptures as possible. To achieve this, he went back to the original Hebrew and Aramaic texts, consulting with Jewish scholars to ensure the highest level of accuracy. This meticulous approach set the Vulgate apart from other translations of the time. Jerome's dedication to his work was evident in the detailed and painstaking manuscript work he produced. His translation was both faithful to the original languages and accessible to Latin speakers, bridging the gap between the ancient texts and the contemporary audience. The Vulgate played a pivotal role in shaping Western Christianity. It became the cornerstone of religious life, influencing the way the scriptures were read, interpreted, and understood by generations of Christians. Its widespread use helped to unify the Church under a common language and a shared understanding of the Scriptures. The Vulgate was more than just a religious text. It was a cultural and intellectual foundation for the Western world. For over 1,000 years, the Vulgate remained the dominant Bible in the West. It was the text that theologians, scholars, and lay people turned to for spiritual guidance and religious instruction. The Vulgate influenced countless theologians, artists, and writers, shaping the religious and cultural landscape of Europe. Its impact can be seen in the art, literature, and theological works that emerged during the medieval period and beyond. Even today, the Vulgate continues to hold a place of honor within the Catholic Church. It is a testament to its enduring legacy and the profound influence it has had on the development of Western Christianity. The Vulgate remains a symbol of the Church's commitment to preserving the sacred scriptures and making them accessible to all. The Protestant Reformation of the 16th century marked a turning point in the history of the Bible and its accessibility. Reformers, led by figures like Martin Luther, challenged the Catholic Church's authority and emphasized the importance of individual engagement with the Scriptures. This emphasis on personal study of the Bible fueled the demand for translations in vernacular languages. Coinciding with this religious upheaval was the invention of the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg's revolutionary invention in the mid-15th century had a profound impact on the dissemination of knowledge, and the Bible was no exception. Printing technology allowed for the mass production of Bibles at a scale never before imagined. Suddenly, Bibles were no longer the exclusive domain of the clergy and the elite. They became more affordable and widely available to the general public. This shift had a profound impact on religious life in Europe. People could now read and interpret the Bible for themselves, fostering a more personal and direct relationship with their faith. Martin Luther, a key figure in the Protestant Reformation, recognized the transformative power of making the Bible accessible to the common person. His vision was revolutionary, aiming to break the monopoly of religious texts held by the clergy. He believed that everyone, regardless of their social status or education, should have the opportunity to read and understand the Scriptures in their own language. This was a radical idea at the time, challenging the established norms of the Church. In 1522, Luther completed his translation of the New Testament into German, a monumental task that required immense dedication and scholarly effort. This was followed by the translation of the Old Testament in 1534, further solidifying his commitment to making the entire Bible accessible to the German-speaking populace. Luther's translation was groundbreaking, not only for its use of the vernacular language, but also for its clarity and readability. He employed a style that was both engaging and understandable. He wanted his translation to be understood by ordinary people, not just scholars and theologians. This democratization of religious knowledge was a cornerstone of his reformative efforts. Luther's German Bible was a resounding success, becoming immensely popular among German speakers. It was not just a religious text, but a cultural phenomenon that resonated deeply with the people. It sparked a wave of vernacular translations across Europe, as other reformers followed Luther's lead. This movement was instrumental in the spread of Protestantism and the reshaping of European religious landscapes. This proliferation of Bibles in common languages had a profound impact on literacy rates, as more people learned to read in order to engage with the scriptures. It also played a crucial role in the development of national identities, as people began to see their language and culture reflected in the holy texts. The Bible, once the domain of a select few, was now available to all, empowering individuals and shaping the course of religious and cultural history. This accessibility fostered a sense of personal connection to the divine and encouraged critical thinking and personal interpretation of religious teachings. In England, the quest for a definitive English Bible culminated in the King James Version in 1611. Commissioned by King James I of England, a team of 47 scholars worked diligently for 7 years to produce a translation that was both accurate and majestic. The King James Version, often referred to as the Authorized Version, quickly gained prominence in England. Its elegant prose and poetic language resonated deeply with readers, solidifying its place not only as a religious text, but also as a literary masterpiece. The King James Bible's influence extended far beyond the realm of religion. Its language and imagery seeped into English literature, shaping the works of writers from William Shakespeare to John Milton. Its phrases became woven into the fabric of the English language, enriching everyday speech with its timeless cadence. Even today, centuries after its creation, the King James Bible continues to inspire and influence readers with its beauty and spiritual depth.